God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Charlotte. John Ross, Stephen Gibson on the front row. Mark Nelson and Mark Dantuma on the second row. Richie Joplin and Zach Lockett have the third row. Ronald Losey and David Garman on the fourth row. Austin Ruskoff and Donald Durance round out the top 10. Gerald Poole starting in 11th next to Troy Downing in 12th. Larry Fairman in 13th. Rick Surgeon in 14th. Kyle Holden starting in 15th. Cody Williams in 16th. Harley Barletta 17th. And Michael Carter rounding out the field in 18th. Hey, good evening, Nicole. That's what she said, Creasel. New paint scheme there for Thanos tonight. Everybody stacked up and ready to go around this 1.5-mile track in Charlotte, North Carolina. It always puts on one heck of a show. John Ross starting on the pole gets a few extra points as he works toward his championship. Can he lead the first lap? Pace car is in. And here we go. Green flag is in the... Oh my goodness, we've got a problem on the green. Caution. Several cars around. What in the world just happened? Looked like Stephen Gibson had a problem getting off the line. There's Gibson on the high side, on the power, in the wrong gear. Oh, Rick Surgeon gets a piece. Michael Carter gets a piece. Riding on board with Michael Carter, you just see the smoke, the checkup, and there was nothing Carter could do. Last night, the truck race went caution-free. Does not appear that that's going to be the case here tonight. After a very bumpy start, Ronald Losey and Zach Lockett already in. Looks like both drivers need minor repairs here early. Stephen Gibson, Michael Carter staying out. Expect them both on pit road next time as John Ross is trying to find the pace car. Everybody trying to get sorted out. This may take a moment. Wow, definitely not the start you expect to see here at Charlotte. Looks like Ross has finally caught up to the... What in the world? Larry Fairman and Harley Barletta have had a problem under caution. See if we can see what happened here. What in the world? Looking at Fairman from the blimp, it looks like he may have just shifted and Harley just goes right into him. And Stephen Gibson appears to have lost connection. Definitely some weirdness out on track tonight. Well, definitely a bumpy start to the race here at Charlotte. I'm kind of without anything to say on this one. It's just a series of very odd things happening. Cody Williams has ducked into pit road. He needs to get the car fixed a little bit. Looks like we can expect Harley to pit road here in just a moment. Stephen Gibson off track. He appears to have lost connection. Larry Fairman on pit road. Michael Carter ducking back on pit road. Harley Barletta weirdly stays out. Really surprised to see Barletta staying out. He has significant damage to the front end of that car. Bill, that was only one. The caution, all of that happened under one caution. Nice try, though. Lights are out on the pace car. Fairman had rolled off pit road, had a problem, and is back on pit road. All right, here we go. Pace car is back in. Rick Sargent, what in the world is he doing? Green flag is back in the air. And Rick Sargent just kind of snuck by everybody. I do expect he'll get a black flag here in a moment. Wow, what a wild start to the night. John Ross gets a big breakaway early. Mark Nelson now in second. Richie Joplin in third. Rick Sargent in fourth. Mark Dantuma in fifth. Garmin trying to make some moves on the high side on Austin Ruskoff. Worth noting, we did mention tonight is a doubleheader. As always on Sunday night, we'll have SMR right after this one. And it does sound like at least a 41 car field will try and qualify as Double D gets sideways out of 4. Everybody's settling in. The field a little broke up for the moment. However, Kyle Holden now in 9th, already up 6 spots. Imagine as Holden comes through the field. Whoa, Double D went off the track. Keep an eye on Double D here. There on the bottom. Coming out of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Down into turn 3, he's got another car right behind. Teammates ahead of him and behind him. Gets loose again out of 4. Keeps his foot in it, gets it back to the asphalt. Great save by Durant. Austin Ruskoff back in 5th, has the fastest lap until John Ross cleared the line that time. He ran a 31.06. Mark Nelson right behind in 2nd. Richie Joplin right with him in 3rd. Dan Tuma in 4th, trying to claw his way back up, bringing Ruskoff with him. David Gorman in 6th, big run, out of 4 down the front stretch. Closed right back up on the back bumper of Ruskoff. Garmin may have a little bit of a run here. Couldn't get it done through 3 and 4, but he is still looking low. John Ross out front, almost a half second on Nelson and Joplin. And a big mess back here behind. Cody Williams back. Oh, Durant is in the wall. Michael Carter managing to slip by. Cody Williams now up into 13th on the bumper of his teammate Ronald Losey in 12th. Double D still managing to hold on. Double D's had a wild start to this night as well. Kyle Holden now up 8 spots into 7th. Has caught the back bumper of David Gorman. Mark Dantuma currently in 4th, still trying to close the gap on Richie Joplin and Mark Nelson. And John Ross just appears to be out for a Sunday cruise. Holding a big run, coming down the back straightaway. Closes the gap a little bit more through 3 and 4. Austin Ruskoff still holds on to 5th, but Gorman keeps peeking up top and to the bottom. They're both closing the gap at the moment on Dantuma. Oh, Dantuma's loose out of 4 through the grass, but saves it. There's Mark coming out of 4, just gets loose, same thing. Happened to Double D a few laps ago. Clips the grass again, but holds on to it. Loses a lot of track position, but he is still in the fight. David Gorman on the attack, looks back underneath. He's going to have to do something. Holden looks to the high side. Zach Lockett and Mark Dantuma. Oh, we've got another one. Gerald pulled through the grass. Everybody a little bit loose out of turn 4 tonight. Mark Dantuma, after his incident, lost a lot of ground, is already on the march. Back toward the front as Kyle Holden. Oh, Garmy gets the wall. Holden manages to get by. Dantuma's going to come by. Zach Lockett gets by. Rick Sargent is continuing to close in. John Ross, meanwhile, out front, continues to extend his lead over Mark Nelson and Richie Joplin, losing a little bit of ground to Mark. Kyle Holden, meanwhile, has gotten past Ruskoff, now into 4th. Holden started all the way in the back, did not qualify. Already up 11 spots. Oh, Gerald Poole through the grass again. Cody Williams managing to sneak by, as did Troy Downing. I think we've seen about half the field getting loose out of turn 4. Gerald keeps it gathered up that time. Hey, good evening, Russell. How are you, buddy? Russell Worth cheering on 3rd place. Richie Joplin. Rick Sargent through the grass. Michael Carter started in 18th. Already up 5 spots into 13th, and he's had a pretty good run. He's been behind everything that has happened, but has managed to keep that car out of trouble. Meanwhile, a 4-car battle just ahead. Rick Sargent, whoa! Looks like a little contact with Cody Williams. Troy Downing ended up going through the grass. And Garmy got the wall again. Turns out Richie Joplin won the truck race here last night. beating out the Iceman by just a little bit. Could Drifty Richie pull off the sweep? He's going to have to close up the gap on John Ross and Mark Nelson. Not to mention the hard-charging car back behind Kyle Holden, continuing to reel in the top three. Zach Lockett, Mark Dantuma battling out for fifth. Garmin closing in, bringing Ruskoff with him. Cody Williams not far behind. Rick Sargent back in 10th, and here comes Michael Carter. Carter making a move on Thanos up on the high side, couldn't get it done. Gerald trying to get under Troy Downing. I'm willing to bet Carter's got a little surprise for everybody. He's been playing it pretty safe. And it's kept him out of trouble. Let's see if he can make up some ground. There goes Carter up top. Kevin, it is but a scratch, but man, you get enough of them. John Ross, meanwhile, extending his lead over Mark Nelson. Now 1.9 seconds as Kyle Holden just took third from Drifty Richie. Zach Lockett now firmly in fifth. Dantuma in sixth. Garmin in seventh. Dantuma up the track. Ruskoff back behind, trying to hold off Cody Williams. Oh, Ruskoff kisses the wall. Competition caution comes at lap 40 here tonight. I suspect a lot of these drivers will be happy to see it tonight. Tire fall off really starting to show now. John Ross's fastest lap, 31.06. That time by 32.27. Kyle Holden now in third, 2.1 seconds behind Mark Nelson. He was the fastest car on track last time by. Mark Dantuma starting to slip backwards. He is now back in seventh. Zach Lockett up to fifth. His teammate Cody Williams now up 8 spots into 8. Michael Carter now up into 11th and is closing the gap on Troy Downing. Kyle Holden chipping away at the gap on Mark Nelson. Harley Barletta, after that early incident, slipping back to 16th. After the car gets fixed, will he be able to fight his way back to the front? Kyle Holden continuing to chip away at the top two. Richie Joplin now back and forth as Lockett closing in. Garmin, Dantuma, Williams, Ruskoff, and Troy Downing, as well as Michael Carter, all right there. Carter continues to close up. Will he have enough time to pick up a couple spots before the comp caution? He's starting to look to the high side now on Troy Downing. Gets the big run into turns 1 and 2. And it looks like Michael Carter will take 10th. John Ross came into tonight with the points lead, qualified on the pole, and has led every lap so far. Definitely a high probability of John extending his points lead tonight, as second place Cody Williams is back in 8th. And he crosses the line to start lap 40. We should see that comp caution right about now. John Ross has had a dominant night so far. Michael Carter, though, might be one to beat before this is all said and done, as he has marched his way through the field. And of course, last week's winner, Kyle Holden, currently sits in 3rd. After starting in 15th, if I'm Mark Nelson and John Ross, I'm a bit worried with that yellow car right behind me. Should see everybody hit pit road this time. And here they come. It'll be 4 tires and fuel. They'll need to make one more stop tonight under the green flag. Drivers looking at 50 to 55 laps on a tank of fuel. Ross hits his pit stall. Dantuma stayed out. Was that a mistake or was it strategy?
Yo, Doug, do you know who's streaming the race tonight?
Do what?
Do you know who's streaming the race tonight?
Yep, me. You're live on the air.
Okay, word. I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to pop in. I was trying to figure out what you were on. Are you on Twitch tonight?
Twitch and Facebook. Yes, sir.
10-4. Thank you, brother.
Yep.
Sorry I couldn't make it to the...
Well, we always get a few little surprises. Mark Dantuma came in tonight 6th in points. Had some problems earlier and lost some ground. Was this strategy just picking up some bonus points? Dantuma looks like he is going to peek back onto pit road. Mark Nelson won the race off pit road and now is out front. See if I can get a quick word. Hey, Mark, it's Doug. You got me?
I gotcha.
It's been a little bit of a bumpy start out there, and you've definitely had a fight, but you definitely got a top 3 car. Can you hold on to the lead from here?
I sure hope so, Doug. If I can't win here, I can't win anywhere, so I'm crossing my fingers. This 44 car is being a pain in my rump so far, but I'll do my best to keep him behind me.
Well, man, good luck. It's definitely been an interesting start to this one, and hopefully you can hold on to victory lane.
I hope so too. Thanks, Doug.
Mark Nelson out front with Zach Lockett right beside him. John Ross, Richie Joplin on the second row. David Garment, Cody Williams on the third. Gerald Poole, Troy Downing, Rick Sargent, and Double D rounding out the top 10. Still 15 cars on the lead lap. And somehow Kyle Holden, it looks like Holden has lost connection. Pace car is in. Green flag is back in the air. Mark tries to get clear as John Ross gets past Lockett, takes second. Lockett now in third, Richie Joplin in fourth. Garmin now up to fifth. Was trying to determine what exactly happened with Holden, and Michael Carter is out of the race. Stephen Gibson and Fairman out, and it does appear Kyle Holden also out. What an odd turn of events here. John Ross in second. The battle is on for third. Richie Joplin right on Lockett's back bumper. Cody Williams now up into sixth. Thanos in seventh. Double D starting to make some moves. He is up to eighth. Mark Dantuma now up into 10th after the late pit stop. As Ronald Losey just shoots by Double D. Double D gets a little squirrely coming out of 4. Wow. Great job by all the drivers holding on to that. Durant's lost a lot of ground. Did manage to hold on, but has drifted back to 13th. And Ruskov looks like he is going to make the move to take that spot. Mark Nelson still out front. But it does appear John Ross is closing the gap. Zach Lockett in third, looking awfully fast tonight. At the moment, biggest mover though, Cody Williams. Started in 16th, up 11 spots into 5th. Kyle Holden has regained connection. He is on pit road. Hopefully we will see. It looks like he went ahead, got tires. Hopefully Holden will get back out. As John Ross has the run on Mark Nelson. And Kyle Holden is on his way back on track. And we have just seen a series of oddball glitches here tonight as John Ross reclaims the lead. Richie Joplin still holding on to third, Lockett in fourth. Garmin is in fifth for now, but Williams is looking for it. Thanos right behind in seventh. Gets right to Cody Williams' back bumper. Mark Nelson trying to stay right in John Ross's tire tracks. You heard him say during that comp caution, Mark said that 44, he was struggling to stay with him. Richie Joplin back in third, Zach Lockett in fourth. Richie is losing ground to the top two. He's about 0.6 of a second back at the moment. Cody Williams has backed off of Garmin for the moment. Mark Dantuma up battling. Whoa! Ronald Losey was way out of shape, coming out of four, still manages to hold his position. Dantuma still trying to get by. Losey in eighth. Dantuma currently in ninth, and Troy Downing lurks behind in 10th. And Dantuma finally gets the run he needs. He'll take 8th place. Troy Downing slips by to take 9th. Back up front, John Ross still out front. The Mark Nelson in second, 0.3 of a second back. Richie Joplin, his time holding about even in third. Lockett in fourth. Garmy in fifth. Gerald Thanos Poole currently in seventh, having a great run tonight. Great to see Thanos back in the fight. Mark Dantuma and Troy Downing starting to pull away from 10th place. Harley Barletta. Barletta got the car fixed under the comp caution and is back in it. Does he have enough time and enough speed to get to the front? The gap between the top two still holds steady. The gap from second to third holds steady. Whoa, Garmy way out of shape. Thanos gets a little bit out of shape out of four as well. Garmin's little bobble may have just opened the door for Cody Williams. He gets a run underneath. Williams trying to clear as they come out of four. He finally gets clear. John Ross now extending his lead just a little bit, about 0.4 of a second over Mark. Worth noting, Kyle Holden is back out on track, currently scored in 15th, 7 laps down. Definitely a heartbreaker for a guy who charged his way up to the top 3. It's unlikely he will be able to get back to the lead lap here tonight. John Ross's lead now about half a second over Nelson. Richie Joplin has Zach Lockett back on his bumper. Zach looks like he's going to make the run into 1. He has the nose in. And Zach may clear. He does. Richie slides back in line in 4th. Cody Williams now up into 5th. Hey, good evening, Zolazu. Good luck in SMR. Definitely going to be a wild night. SMR, right after this race, will go to SMR in Daytona. Gerald Poole in 7th has lost touch with the top 6 and 8th place. Mark Dantuma is closing the gap. Troy Downing staying right with him. Cody Williams now looks underneath Richie Joplin for 4th. Richie made it abundantly clear prior to the race he does not like these cars, especially at this track. Cody Williams now into 4th, up 12 spots. Heck of a run for Cody so far. John Ross now opening up a gap on the Mark Nelson, 0.7 of a second. Zach Lockett now in 3rd, 2.3 seconds back. Cody Williams in 4th, Richie Joplin in 5th, Garmy in 6th. Gerald Thanos Poole in 7th. Mark Dantuma in 8th, closing in on Gerald. Tire wear starting to become a bigger issue as lap times fall off. Drivers now about 0.8 of a second off their fast laps. Austin Ruskoff has made his way back into the top 10. Harley Barletta is in. Oh! Harley has a problem getting to pit road. There's Barletta coming through 3 and 4. Looks like he was coming in for his final stop. But man, what a hit. And he toes it in. All the drivers should be within their fuel window, so everybody can go the distance from here on fuel. Getting fresh tires right now could make a huge difference, but most of these drivers will wait till they're close to being out of fuel. If you got the fresh tires now, you'd be the fastest car on track, but later in the run, you'd be the slowest. Cody Williams closing up on his teammate in third, Zach Lockett. Meanwhile, John Ross out front has a 1.3 second lead over Mark Nelson. Mark Nelson, the defending champ of the BRR Cup Series, has not had the greatest start to this season. Still comes into this race third in points, but has yet to pull off a win and only one top 5. And caution! Caution is out! Only the second caution we've had due to an incident. Let's see, looks like Ronald Losey and Double D involved. Let's see what happened. Double D, Ronald Losey side by side. I believe Losey got loose, came down into Double D. Looking down from the blimp, get a better idea of what happened here. And Losey just gets loose. Coming out of 4, gets the nose of Double D, gets turned out to the wall. Ouch. And everybody, as expected, is on pit road. Rick Sargent stays out. He'll pick up some points for leading a lap. And it looks like this time John Ross wins the race off pit road. Mark Nelson comes out second, Lockett in third, Cody Williams in fourth, Richie Joplin in fifth. And we do expect Rick to be on pit road this time. Rick is not making the turn to pit road. Rick is on old tires. Hey, good evening, JR. Yeah, he got a little loose. Rick Sargent has not been to pit road since the comp caution at lap 40. High probability of spinning those tires on the restart. Not sure what the strategy is here, but it does seem like a good time to crank it up a bit. So when the green flag drops, I'm gonna shut up. You guys crank it up and listen to all that volume. Here we go. Pace car is in. Green flag is in the air. Crank it up, everybody. I sure do love that. John Ross quickly back to the lead. Rick Sargent on the old tires has already faded back to 12th. John Ross out front. Zach Lockett in second. Drifty Richie in third, Troy Downing in fourth, Cody Williams in fifth. On the restart, Mark Nelson was stuck behind Rick Sargent and lost a lot of ground back into sixth. JR, you racing with SMR tonight, buddy? Cody Williams peeking under Troy Downing now. He'll take fourth. Gerald Poole in seventh. Big battle behind as Garmin and Dan Tuma do battle. The lap car of Kyle Holden right there with them. Dan Tuma on the bottom, Garmin up top. Dan Tuma finally clears out of four. We've got one car through the infield. It's Double D. Man, the exit of turn 4 has just been super slick tonight. There's Double D as he comes out of turn 4, just gets loose, full send through the infield, gets it back on the asphalt, and does not hit the wall. Great save by Durant. Richie Joplin in second, Lockett in third, Williams in fourth. Mark Nelson has moved back up into 5th, trying to run down the cars ahead. Troy Downing in 6th, Gerald Poole in 7th, Dan Tuma back on the march in 8th. John Ross already pulling out a 3/4 of a second lead on Richie. Zach Lockett and Cody Williams, teammates, sitting 3rd and 4th, is going to make it difficult for anybody back behind to get past and fight to the front. Kyle Olden, despite not being on the lead lap, just showing he has got all the speed. Olden underneath Mark Dan Tuma. Dan Tuma holds him off for the moment. Austin Ruskoff had a problem a moment ago, and Rick Surgeon is now on pit road. You have to think Rick was hoping for a quickie caution that would allow him to get back to pit road for it and get fresh tires. That restart just did not go in his favor. Keep an eye on Rick Surgeon in the DeWalt car. There's the green flag. He fires, but spins the tires a little bit, loses some ground, stacks up a bit of the field back behind. By the time they come out of turn 2, he's already back in 5th and losing ground quickly. John Ross already seeing lap traffic ahead. Could be the biggest problem for him in the last 30 laps of this race. David Gourmet, he is pulling off the track. Gourmet has lost a lot of ground. See if we can see what happened with Gourmet. He looks underneath Thanos going into turn 3. Gets a little bit of a push. Middle of the turn. Comes out of 4. Keeps his foot down. Down into 1 and 2, and Thanos goes up the track. Gourmet gets a big run out of turn 2. Just barely gets clear. Off into 3, the car starts pushing up. Wow. And he slams the wall out of 4.
And then there was Doug.
Well, Garmin, that was definitely a rough end to your night.
Yeah, a little bit.
Did look like you had a bit of a push there, battling with Gerald. The lap before you was obvious. It really started to go up on you.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what Chevy does. It just pushes to the wall, and then you saw right what happened at the end. It just decided, like, throw me into the right side of the wall. So I'm pretty sure if I was in a Ford, it would have just been loose, and I could have slid through the whole track and been fine, like a dirt car. So, you know, that's probably the last time I'll run a Chevy.
No, you have it completely wrong. But I'll let you imagine that since you had a rough night.
No, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Haven't not ran these cars in months and months or so and whatnot. It was fun.
Well, you definitely had a good run up until that battle with Gerald, man. Great job tonight.
It wasn't his fault. It was the car got loose, and I just hit the wall, and that was the end of it. So it is what it is.
Still a great job. You put on one heck of a show tonight, buddy.
That's about all I'm good for now. I'll catch you later, Doug.
All right, buddy. Great job. David Gorman officially out of the race. Mark Nelson on the bumper now of Cody Williams. John Ross has opened up a 1.7 second lead. Richie Joplin still holding on to second. Zach Lockett in third. Cody Williams, Mark Nelson round out the top five. Troy Downing we've watched come through the field. Downing has had a great run here tonight as well. Up 6 spots to 6th place after starting the night in 12th. Mark Dantuma, a little bit of struggles tonight, currently in 7th. Austin Ruskoff back in 8th. Gerald Poole back to 9th. Double D still in the top 10. Donald has had quite a few good saves here tonight. Mark Nelson now trying to make the move, and Cody Williams just drops like a rock. Williams lost a lot of momentum coming out of turn 2. Mark Nelson now up into 4th, closing the gap on Richie Joplin as Zach Lockett moves to 2nd. And John Ross has checked out to a 3 1/4 second lead with the battles back behind. Mark Nelson gets the run underneath Thrifty Richie. Mark back up to 3rd place. Mark closing in on Zach Lockett. Mark is known for doing a great job conserving tires. It's definitely showing late in the run. "20 laps to go. Only 2 cautions here tonight. And a ton of great saves that have made it possible for these guys to avoid even more cautions." Cody Williams came in tonight 2nd in points, currently running in 5th. Mark Nelson has taken second place back. Kyle Holden right on his bumper. Remember, Holden lost connection earlier in the race and went several laps down. He was running in third when it happened. A heartbreak. You can see just how fast Holden is. And Zach trying to reclaim second up top. Holden off to the bottom and gives Mark Nelson just enough draft to hold on to it. But with all that battling, John Ross has continued to pull away. His lead now 4.8 seconds over the Mark Nelson. Rick Sargent currently in 11th after his pit stop. Holden has moved up to 12th. David Garman, Ronald Losey, Harley Barletta, Michael Carter, Stephen Gibson, and Larry Fairman out of this one early. John Ross's lead now at 5 seconds over Mark Nelson and Zach Lockett. Mark managing to stay in the tire tracks of Kyle Holden, but still not gaining any ground on the leader. Richie Joplin back and forth, trying to pull back up to Zach and get back to the podium. Troy Downing now to 5th. Cody Williams starting to fade. Looks like Williams may have used the car and the tires up a little bit too early. Mark Dantuma had a big run into turn 3 as he closes back onto the bumper of Williams. Austin Ruskoff currently running in 8th. Gerald Poole in 9th. Gerald may be in trouble. Durant's fighting back from all sorts of adversity tonight up to 10th. At the line, Ross's lead now 5.4 seconds. And folks, don't forget, shortly after this race, we'll be back on at Daytona with SMR's season opener. We had the clash last week at the LA Coliseum, but tonight the points start counting. Ten laps to go for John Ross. He continues to extend his lead. Mark Nelson in second, growing his gap on third place. Zach Lockett. Richie Joplin at 4th, battling with Troy Downing. Troy has had one heck of a run here tonight as well. Troy up 7 spots into... Oh! Troy gets the wall as he tries to get a run on Richie. Troy starting back in 12th has quietly moved up through the field. Cody Williams, despite losing ground, still the biggest mover of the night, up 8 spots into 7th. Looks like Troy trying to set up on Richie yet again. John Ross continues to extend that lead. Now 5.5 seconds. Zach Lockett 2.6 seconds behind Mark. Mark Dantuma closing in on this battle for 4th place. The longer they stay side by side, the closer he has gotten. Dantuma trying to stay behind, let these two wear each other out and take advantage, but with 5 to go, will he have enough time? Everybody is good on fuel. This is just going to come down to who has the best tires. Dantuma looked low. Troy Downing shut the door. Richie drifts up the track and gets the wall. Downing gets the run. Downing and Dantuma both get loose out of 2. Cody Williams closes back up. John Ross is loving all the battling his spotter is telling him about. Back behind, now Dantuma up top trying to get the run on Downing. Out of turn 2, Mark gets him. And Cody Williams gets closer. Now Dantuma looks to the bottom on Richie. 2 laps to go for John Ross. Dantuma couldn't get it done yet. Out of turn 4, John Ross comes and sees the white flag one more time around. He has a 6.2 second lead and growing. Down the back straightaway, he has dominated the night, qualified on the pole, led the majority of the laps out here tonight, and a dominant performance. John Ross will win at Charlotte. Mark Nelson comes home in 2nd, Zach Lockett in 3rd, and who's it going to be? Richie Joplin gets 4th, right at the line. Let's talk to our top 3, starting with Zach. Zach, you had one heck of a night tonight, but you managed to come home on the podium.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting start to the race. I didn't know how it was going to go after that, but got sent to the back after that because of the wreck, and ended up saving my tires pretty well and working my way through the field, but just didn't really have anything for Mark and John. But overall, with the way it started, it was really successful night.
That start was definitely sketchy, but you and several others managed to drive through it, man. Great survival and great job with the podium.
Thank you so much, and shout out to everyone in the league and my teammates at Adrenaline and John Ross for winning. Congrats to him, and it was a great run.
Great job tonight.
Thank you.
The Mark Nelson coming home in second. Mark, it was a fight all night just to come home in second, especially after starts and restarts about bit you.
Yeah, that last restart kind of screwed me there. Had to be behind old tires there, and then people were running me over, and I was doing everything I could just not to, die. So I would have liked a little better chance at the restart there, but it is what it is. I'll fight in the next one.
Well, man, a great job and a great comeback in both situations. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug.
You can hear the drivers definitely out of breath, but is our winner John Ross? Let's find out. John, congratulations, back in victory lane and extending your points lead.
Thanks, Doug. It was a really good night. Track was super hot. I think it got up to like 132 degrees. So it was really just about tire management. And we come away with one. We'll take it.
Man, you have had one heck of a start to the season. Plus, you're the first driver to get multiple wins. And your teammate, Cody Williams, dropping back early on. Your points lead is going to grow significantly.
Yeah, that's always a good thing, and I really like this format, being a season-long points battle. So, just show up, be consistent. If you can get a win, take it. If not, just keep all the fenders on it.
Oh, you definitely did that. Stayed out of trouble back at victory lane, man. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Do want to give a shout out to you. Really like the broadcast, Doug. Really appreciate that. Mark for putting this on, and then Zach Lockett and Cody Williams and Ron Losi for my Adrenaline teammates. Appreciate them.
Great job tonight.
Thank you.
Well, John Ross back in victory lane, but folks, don't go anywhere. We're just a few moments from getting back on track at Daytona. It's going to be a fun night for SMR. Stick around, everybody.